So up next, we've got Michael, who's the country manager and head of sales at Qobra. He's going to talk to us about how to position and close multiple year deals. So a bit about Michael. Michael started as an SDR at Dynamic Signal, now first up, and then went into management after 7 months, eventually leading the sales development and marketing for EMEA. After 2 years there, he joined Clarion at Series C to help drive the EMEA expansion, joined as employee number 4, left after 4 years, helped take the business from 500k ARR into the region of 12 million, and 110 plus customers. Some growth down to you, Michael. He recently started a new role as country manager and head of sales at Qobra, disrupting the sales compensations and commissions for businesses in the UK. So next, Michael.
All right. Hello, folks. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for the introduction, and George, thanks for that presentation and executive point of view. It does work. We actually did something before I left my previous company. We had a whole initiative around executive point of views, and it really does work. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to position and close multi-year deals. So gonna ask for a quick show of hands. Some bit of might be like, oh, silly question, but who wants to make more money here? Everyone. Okay, great. Who would love an extra 5 to 10 grand in commission? Okay, everyone. So I'm in the right place. Okay, last question. Who wants to be known as the rep that brings in the biggest deals? Good. So I'm speaking to the right people. That's awesome. So why should you be motivated to do multi-year deals? First of all, getting paid your accelerators and multi-year kickers. So 1, extra cash in your bank account. 2, oh, thanks. 2, you have more runway, right? Your customer success team have more runway to build referenceable customers. That's huge, especially for a company like us. We're Series A, we're coming to the UK. This is something that is going to be super, super important for us to actually build customers that are referenceable, because that's super, super powerful. 3, reduces your churn rate, because that's really important, especially if you want to exit. And 4, big TCVs. I don't know how many of you guys work for companies that pay on TCVs rather than ARR. Anyone here? No, so most companies pay on ARR, but there are some companies that pay on TCV. So that's really, really useful. Now, why would your customers commit for 3 years? 1, stability versus switching every single year. I don't know if anyone here has ever managed sales tech tools, but if you have, you can easily be the villain of the go-to-market team when you're making them switch every single year. When you come in, you want to introduce a new conversational intelligence tool, or rarely a new CRM. You rarely switch that every year. But when you want to introduce new compensations tool, new sales tech tool, they absolutely hate it because you're forcing them to change. Sales reps in the room, put your hands up. You hate change, right? Exactly. So do I. So that's the first thing. They don't want to be the villain. Second thing, they get better pricing. They get better discounts when they commit for multi-year deals. And third thing, it's more about a true partnership rather than vendor management. Communicate this to the customer, right? Because sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know. So a lot of the times, especially in the current macro, we all know CFO right now is kind of very cost conscious, blocking any kind of deals that's on the table that's going to cost them a lot of money. They hear all that stuff. They don't want to hear it right now. So it's really, really important for you to kind of position 3-year deals. Hey, you're going to get, not only are you going to get better pricing, but you're going to actually save yourself being a villain with a go-to-market team and then kind of constant switching every single year. So position that in your slide deck, especially when you're presenting pricing. One thing that really worked for me when I was selling, when I was an IC, was I never, ever talked about a 1-year deal. Never. Just never happened. And whenever I actually positioned pricing to my customer, it was more, this is an investment. So also the language change is really, really important for them, right? So just little things like that makes a really big difference. Right. How do you position them in your deals? First thing, do some discovery on what's important for them in a partnership. And what are the kind of typical SaaS, vendor terms? So for example, I've sold to companies that they'll outright tell you, we don't do multi-year deals. It just is what it is, right? So now it's your job as a salesperson to really convince them on why they should do multi-year deals. And I wanted to use an analogy here, right? Imagine you're dating someone, right? You're dating someone, you go out with them on the first date. You're going to ask some interesting questions, right? You're going to want to know where they want to go in the relationship, right? So when you're asking them where they want to go in a relationship, you're probably going to find out very quickly if they want to stay with you short term, and this is just a fun project for them, or they actually want to go all the way and maybe commit to getting engaged or getting married and having children. You're going to find that out through good discovery, right? I see some smiling faces, so you guys are kind of like throwing back in your mind, right? So do some discovery, what's important for them in a partnership. And take that what's important for them and actually really start to communicate how you can deliver against that. So for example, someone might say, actually, it's really, really important for us to have a long-term partnership. It's really important for us to have a really good customer success team, or really have, really strong implementation. That's something that, hey, you can actually tap onto your implementations team and say, hey, to actually get a multi-year deal here, we need to come across with a really strong point of view on what our implementation looks like and how we differentiate to other vendors that they're looking at the moment. Understand what will stop them from partnering with your company for a multi-year deal. And finally, what are the strategic outcomes they want to drive using your platform? Kind of tying back to George's earlier presentation about executive point of view, this is really about understanding what are the strategic priorities for the business and how you're going to help them to drive it. You become more of a partner than a vendor when you really understand their business, and you can really try to help them understand through your software how you're going to help them to achieve what they want to achieve. That takes the conversation from here all the way to over there. And that's where you really start to land meetings with the right people, and actually getting through that red tape of 1 year versus 2 year versus 3 year becomes a lot easier. Understand your strategic priorities, how you can help. And by the way, like when a company sets like revenue objective or big corporate initiatives, it's not going to be something that they can achieve. Most of the time, they're not going to be able to do it in 6 months. They maybe have a year that they want to achieve it with, or it's something over 2 years, 3 years. I worked with a couple of companies before I joined Qobra. That there was a company in Germany, they wanted to get to 200 million in the next 2 years. Another company in Switzerland, they wanted to go public and hit 1 billion revenue in 5 years. If they're constantly switching platforms and your platform is a strategic partner to achieving that, they won't want to rip you out in a year's time. So it's really important to, again, just get to the high level goals, always tie into that. Every presentation that you have, always tying into that and making yourself sticky. So last point is, once you have all that information, how do you get buy-in? One thing is, a 1 year deal, no matter what they say, isn't a partnership. It's a pilot. It's a pilot. They're testing you out. They are maybe serious, but they're not really serious. And sometimes you can challenge them and say, hey, listen, like, some of you guys sell software that takes a long time to implement, right? Okay, you are Salesforce. Salesforce doesn't take 3 months to implement at all, right? It takes a long time, right? Sometimes it takes a couple of years. Sometimes it takes 18 months, it takes 12 months. So if they're really serious about the investment, they'll go long term. And if you've done your job well as a sales rep and position yourself that you are the right vendor or you are the right partner for them. Sorry, I shouldn't use the word vendor. We'll switch into partner. If you're the right partner for them, they'll see the big vision and they'll commit for you they'll commit to it for multi-year. A strategic partner that actually helps them to achieve their corporate initiatives. I've talked about this already, versus solve some pain points. If you sell software in a way that helps to solve pain points, you are the 1 year deal person. Why? Because after a year, when the CFO says we need to cut some cost, your software is going to be the first to go. Right? So again, always stick high level. Every CFO is super cost conscious right now. So anything around how you can help them to save money, how you can help them to replace what they currently have for possibly cheaper is always useful. And I don't know about you guys, but I was dealing with a really tough deal desk team for the last 4 years. However, there was so much flexibility we had internally when we were talking 3 years. They never wanted to do 1 year deals because the flexibility wasn't so much. So when you're doing 3 year deals, you have much more flexibility with deal desks. They can actually give you better terms. They can give you better language in your OA or your order agreements to actually help you get the deal over the line. So really, really useful there. If you ever present pricing, I touched this earlier, present pricing always 3 year. It's better to start high and then work yourself downwards than start at 1 year and then try to convince them to do a 3 year. Once you started 1 year, there's no going back. That's it. It's going to be really, really hard to convince them to go higher. Fourth thing, I talk about this, always use the word investment, use the word partnership. Little language like that makes a really big difference. Now, this is really, really important, actually. When you've done your discovery and they've kind of told you what it's going to take for them to get comfortable, bring in other stakeholders, bring in your CS team. We all know some of us sell, some of us are in complex sales cycle most of the time, right? We know that we don't sell alone. Good sales reps don't sell alone. So bring in your implementations team. Pre-sales, before you close the deal, bring in implementations team, bring in customer success, bring in the relevant people in your organization to get the customer comfortable. Do the reference calls, right? Put them in touch with other customers that have seen good ROI from your solution. Bring in customers that, have made money using your solution. All of that stuff helps when you're trying to do when you're trying to do multi-year deals. And finally, make it easy for them to buy. Don't put like crazy stuff like, auto renewal in new order agreements. And hopefully that's really going to help. I hope that made sense. And thank you very much.